Hey everybody, Pat Benage here, the Evolution Coach, creator of the 6-Week Shift, the Inner Path, and author of this inspirational blog, SoulTalk. And welcome. This is actually the last SoulTalk of 4 years. Next week I'll be starting the 5th year of SoulTalk, and it's hard to believe, really, for me, that I've been doing it this long, and yet feels as though I don't remember hardly what it was like before doing this. So it's such a powerful experience for me. I hope it is for you, but it certainly is for me. As I've been writing this for the first 3 years, it was just written, and then for the last year or so have been doing the videos. So last time I talked about enlightenment and what is enlightenment, and touched on realization, which is what I see as something that's beyond enlightenment, and that enlightenment is not our ultimate goal, and yet it's very high, elevated consciousness. And so I'm not in any way degrading enlightenment. Enlightenment is it's a rare level of consciousness for people, and and yet there are those who have gone beyond enlightenment. They've gone beyond that that level of consciousness, that level of understanding, because it's always not necessarily surprising to me, but still unexpected how just bringing up the topic and beginning the conversation will stimulate new perspectives for me. And so all week it's been coming through and expanding, and my perspective has shifted, not away from the original concept, but in terms of broadening and expanding, and at the same time focusing, so that there's even more clarity, that I see again through more layers of it. And there seems to always be more layers with everything. There seems to always be more layers, that just when you think you're getting to the bottom of it, that there's more to it. There's just more to it. And I apologize, because I'm just actually kind of getting over a cold. I rarely get sick, but this move just kind of wore my body out and left me a little vulnerable, and so I have picked up a little something that is unusual for me to be sick. So bear with my voice, and hopefully I won't get into a coughing fit here or something. But as this week has progressed, and in my own contemplations of enlightenment and realization, and all of that has unfolded and expanded and emerged from within me, it actually seems simpler. And I find that to be true much of the time, that the mind tends to complicate things and make it out to be this greatly complicated scenario. And in truth, as we get to the truth of things, they're fairly simple. They're fairly simple. They're almost too simple sometimes for the mind to believe. And yet, simple doesn't mean easy. It doesn't mean that because something's simple that it's easy to do. Realization is a simple thing. Realization is being one's true self. That's it. In each moment, simply being one's true self. It's pretty simple, right? Enlightenment is simply understanding life. Understanding life. Understanding, it's a simple concept, but the process of understanding all of it, we create all this complication about it, and we dive into various aspects because we see all of these things that attract our attention and interest us, and we dive into them and try to understand them and get to experience them, and that's what life's about. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Life is about that. It's about exploring all of these amazing aspects to life. Finding what brings you joy. Feeling what really hurts. But sometimes what really hurts makes you understand how alive you are. There's so much to it. And yet, at least in my view in this moment, what it comes right down to is that enlightenment is about knowing, understanding that we're all one. That everything is one. There's just one big all. And that I am that. That's enlightenment. It's understanding life. To understand life is to understand that we see all of this separateness and this individuality and all of the details, and to see that and to understand and to know that it's all one thing. It's us. It's me. It's all the aspects of the one. And Pat Benage is one aspect of that one, but my true self, soul, even beyond soul, is that I am all of it. There's no separation that truly exists. We imagine the separation. We view the separateness, but to know, to be enlightened is to understand, to know that nothing is separate. Not in truth. But realization is being one. Realization is being one. And enlightenment is understanding that I am one with all things, but realization is that it's oneness. Not with all things, but all things are one. That there are not these multiple things. They're all part of the one. So I'm not one with nature. Nature and I are one. I'm not one with you. You and I are one. I'm not one with Source. Source and I are one. But you can't realize that until you have the direct experience. You can't. Realization is not an intellectual thing. It's not a knowing intellectually. It's a being. It's an experience. It's not something that can be explained or described. You can't put it into words, because as soon as you put it into words, the mind begins to interpret. Enlightenment, it's an interpretation of oneness. It's an interpretation of oneness. It's not an experience of it. Realization is the experience itself of being one. And I've known many people who have said that they've had that experience where they all of a sudden they feel in this one moment of, perfect meditation or something else, that they feel this oneness with everything. But it goes away as soon as you notice that there's a this and that. There's me and there's that over there. As soon as you notice that, then you're not one anymore. As soon as you get the idea that I'm one with something else, then you're not being one anymore. That's so realization is simple, but being realized, being one in every moment, that's hard. There's so much to draw that energy away, that attention away from the oneness. And I know some of you might be saying, well, I know I'm one with all things, but what about that thing that causes you pain? What about one with disease? What about that person who you just see as completely wrong because their view is so contrary to what yours is? What about, if you believe in it, what about evil? What is that? Are you one with that? Because until you see all of it as one, you're not being one. You cannot be one with the things that you choose to be one with. That's not realization. That's not even enlightenment. Enlightenment is knowing that I am one with all things, that all things and I are one, that there is no separation, that there's no good and bad and evil and righteous. Even within myself. I mean, if we look at just within the individual body, and we look at the various parts, and my back this morning was hurting, and so am I going to deny it? Am I going to disown my back because it's causing me pain? If I stub my toe and it hurts, am I going to just cut it off? Get rid of it? View it as not really me, because it doesn't fit? And granted, we do, we get cancer and we cut it out. We cut that disease out. What if that's not the answer? What if we, cancer really, it's about these cells within our own body attacking other cells of our own body because they see them as foreign. It's our own immune system attacking us. Because they see this separateness, that it's a foreign body. Maybe it's infusing our own body with this knowing of oneness, pure love. Maybe that's the answer. And I'm not advocating that everybody that has a disease go out and just do that, because most people aren't ready for that. Trust what feels right for you. I'm just saying that, medical science hasn't been able to find the answer to many things, to many illnesses, diseases. Maybe we're exploring the wrong area. Maybe there's a different answer. I have this cold. Maybe there's a different way to deal with this cold. Obviously, I'm not feeling at one with everything in my body, or that wouldn't be happening. At least that's my view of things. I look at disease as dis-ease. So if I'm not at peace within, then it leaves me open to the possibility of something coming in and creating dis-ease. And of course, that's me. I'm not putting the responsibility on anything else. That's me. It's my choice. At the very basic level, it's my choice. My choice. So, again, this subject is so big. I can only cover bits and pieces of it at a time, and I'm sharing with you kind of what's coming through for me, sort of in real time. And this is what's coming through, that realization is the direct perception of truth, oneness. Enlightenment is the understanding of the concept. It's a concept based, and it's interpreted by our mind at a very high level. When it's enlightened, when the mind is enlightened, it interprets at a very high level. But it's not the same as direct experience. And direct experience only happens on the soul level, beyond enlightenment. So I hope that's inspirational for you. I hope that's some good food for thought, beyond thought. And I thank you again for joining me this week, whenever it happens to be that you're joining this or watching this or reading this or listening to this, however you choose. And if it is something that touches you in some way, that pushes buttons for you, that sparks something, comment below, reply to the email, send me the info, share it on Facebook or Twitter or wherever, spread the word. Not that my word's any more valuable than anything else, but if it touches you, share that with others. And thank you again. And remember, live your life from the inside out. Love y'all. See you next week.